Sandbox MMA fans, we are back with another UFC Fight Night predictions video. My hair is getting fucking long, but we'll take care of that next week. I got a wedding coming up, so I got to get cleaned up for it. But what a card we have this weekend. Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady. Now, what I'm going to say is this is a main event that should be in front of a crowd, not in the Apex, but the overall card is stacked too, so I'm not going to complain. This is such a sick card, especially for an Apex card. We got big names all over it, big fights. I like a lot of underdogs in this, so stay tuned as well. My overall record is 232 and 123, so I am kind of cooking right now, and I'm going to keep cooking all season long. Let's just get right into the picks. I'm done dicking around here, so we are going to go to the first fight of the night, Zigomanis Ramaska versus Nathan Fletcher. I believe these are two tough guys from The Ultimate Fighter. Not they're tough guys. I mean, Zigomanis Ramaska is a tough guy. Nathan Fletcher likes to sniff a little bit of crotch. His way to win this fight is to try and get it to the ground and just gas out Zigomanis Ramaska there, but every single round starts on the feet, and I think Zigomanis Ramaska is a crazy, powerful striker, and I think he can get Nathan Fletcher out of there pretty early. Now, Nathan Fletcher is coming up from bantamweight to fight at featherweight, so he's not going to have a weight advantage. He's much smaller than this guy. Again, similar reach, but it's not like he's using his striking to win this fight. He's going to try and grapple and get this to the ground. I can see him stalling it out in the clinch a little bit, but I can see Ramaska landing some crazy elbows in the clinch and good knees to really thwart the attempts of Nathan Fletcher. I'm going to go with Zigomanis Ramaska here to win this fight by knockout in the first or second round. I'm going to go in the second round. I think Nathan Fletcher may have some success with a takedown early, but Ramaska gets up, lands some damage, and then round two starts, and he gets a pretty early finish in round two. I just think his striking's a lot better, and I don't think Nathan Fletcher is going to be able to bully him, given he is going up in weight. Give me Zigomanis Ramaska as the underdog here. I'm taking him by knockout. Andre Petroski versus Dylan Budka. Dylan Budka may be the worst fighter on the UFC roster. He is 24 years old, and he should be constantly improving, but Andre Petroski has been in there before, been in there multiple times, and while his striking is sus, his chin is sus, it's not like Dylan Budka is going to be putting punches on him. Dylan Budka's only way to win any fight is to try and wrestle, and he couldn't even wrestle a pure kickboxer in Cesar Almeida. The guy got tired in the second round. I don't like his grit. I don't like how he fights in the octagon. I think he's just going to try and get takedowns, but I think Petroski's going to be able to stuff them all because I think Dylan Budka's wrestling credentials are fake as fuck. I think they're fake as fuck. I don't think he has discipline. I don't think he enjoys training. I think he goes out there thinking, I'm a wrestler, I can ragdoll people. You're not going to do that to Andre Petroski. I'm pretty sure he's going to stuff every takedown, and I would lean that Petroski's going to even be able to have some success in the grappling here. Nothing crazy. I think this fight will primarily stay on the feet, and both of these guys have fucking awful striking. But I'm going to go with Petroski, given that he's been in there longer. He's had to strike with GM3, and while a lot of people think he lost that fight, I bet on him and he won, and I was at the event, and I kind of thought he won too, so I'm going to go with Petroski to win this fight via a round 3 TKO. I can see Budka just getting tired, gassing out, and not being able to finish this fight and pretty much quitting out there, letting Petroski end up getting top position and landing some good ground and pound. I bet Dylan Budka's also terrible off his back, so I could see Petroski getting him to the ground and just tiring him out and absolutely wearing on him. I don't see Budka being able to get up from a takedown. I can see him stuffing takedowns, but I don't think he's got good jiu-jitsu. He hasn't shown it yet. He's just a pure wrestler. He doesn't have like true grappling skill credentials in terms of like getting back to his feet. So I'm going to go with Petroski to win this one pretty easily. And at minus 275, he's going to go in a lot of parlays of mine because I think it's a good leg to add. I get that you can't really trust a guy that got knocked out by a hip bone, but at the end of the day, he's fighting Dylan Budka. That's not going to happen here. So I'm going Andre Petroski to win this fight by a round 3 TKO. And by the way, when I talk record, my record's not like predicting the method right. My record is predicting the fighters right. So just want to make that clear. Next up, Vanessa Demopoulos versus Jacqueline Amorim. Vanessa Demopoulos is older, and I actually like that a lot for women's MMA. I think that the age difference is not as keen in women's MMA as it is with men's MMA in terms of just pure athleticism and skill and things like that. Now, Jacqueline Amorim is sick at jiu-jitsu, has unbelievable jiu-jitsu. Transitions from armbar to triangle back to armbar, can get your back and rear naked choke you. Like, her transitions are unbelievable, and she has great reach. So when it gets to the ground, I can see her having a lot of success in the jiu-jitsu, but she kind of struggles to take it to the ground. And I don't think Vanessa Demopoulos is going to try and take it to the ground. I think Vanessa Demopoulos' striking is a little bit better. I think it's been improving. I don't think it's good, but she just kind of goes out there, puts a lot of volume, and bites down in the mouthpiece and goes. I think if Amorum's going to have a tough time getting this fight to the ground, she's going to have a tough time winning this fight. And also, even if it does go to the ground, Vanessa Demopoulos, she has decent jiu-jitsu. Like, it's not Jacqueline Amorum jiu-jitsu, because Jacqueline Amorum jiu-jitsu is probably some of the better in the strawweight division so far that I've seen. But I think Vanessa Demopoulos has enough to kind of stall out rounds down there, can survive. I think she has short limbs. It's going to be hard to get arm bars on her. I think she's going to be hard to choke. I think it's going to be hard to get her. And if it goes to decision, the judges want Vanessa Demopoulos to win. She is putting in overtime at the Apex, going in the back, making sure she takes care of her judges like she did in the previous occupation she had where she was a stripper. She might still be a stripper, dude. I don't even know. But she gets robbery decision after robbery decision, and she's coming off like multiple wins and robbery decisions where it has fucked me over because I think she's a terrible fighter. But like, she lost clearly to Dakota. She lost to Murata. She actually might have beaten Murata. No, she did. I don't know. I'll have to go back and remember that fight. But Karolina Kowalkiewicz, she clearly lost. There was no way they were giving it to her. She lost to Jin Yu Frey, clearly. I think she lost to Oliveira as well. Like, she was losing these fights, and she just gets these robbery decisions because she is giving Adelaide Bird some lip backstage, bro, if you know what I'm saying. She's giving, who are some of the, like, Chris Lee is getting the business backstage, if you know what I mean. Like, so I'm going to go with Vanessa Demopoulos to win this fight at plus 250. I'm taking it. I think she can stall out going to the ground, and I think she can get to the judges' scorecards here and get herself another robbery decision. We're going with Vanessa Demopoulos, big underdog right off the bat. I got 2 underdogs right off the bat. But I'm not going with 3. I think Gabriel Santos is going to have some finishing ability here against Yiza, and I don't trust these road to UFC guys, man. 25-4 at the age of 27, that's a really good-looking record. But all these really Eastern fighters, Eastern of the world fighters from China that come from the road to the UFC, they have super padded records against really bad opponents. Their records are very, very padded, and then you see when they come into the UFC, they don't do well. Now, Gabriel Santos has had a tough draw of fights in the UFC so far. This is a kid that has a lot of potential, and is still getting better in the octagon. First of all, he's bigger than Yiza in terms of height. But like, he got knocked out by David Onama, and he was looking good in that fight up until that point. He had a split decision loss to Lerone Murphy. Like, dude has had a tough draw fighter. These are guys that are just outside the ranking, in the ranking, and possibly climbing continuously. So, I'm going to go with Gabriel Santos to win here, and I think he's going to get a knockout pretty early in this fight. I'm going to go round 1. He comes out there like a bat out of hell, lands great power on Yiza, and ends up winning this fight by knockout in the first round. Yiza, I got to see more from him. Just him coming from the road to UFC is not enough. Now, he does have a slight inch of reach, but I think he's going to have a little bit better success in grappling than he does in striking, and I don't think he's going to be able to grapple with Gabriel Santos. I think Gabriel Santos is the power advantage here. I think he's got the jiu-jitsu advantage here. Don't know about the wrestling. I want to see how Yiza's wrestling has come around, but I'm going to go with Gabriel Santos. His hands are better. His kicks are better. I'm going to go with Gabriel Santos to win this fight by knockout. Andre Lima versus Felipe Dos Santos. I think that Andre Lima, while he has a shorter reach and is apparently shorter, when he gets in that octagon, he looks bigger than everyone else. I know that he missed weight before, but I still think he has the better chance here, man. I think his striking is better than Felipe Dos Santos, and I know Felipe had his best performance against Manel Kape before, but then he went out there and arguably lost to Victor Altamirano, and I think Andre Lima would beat the piss out of Altamirano. Now, I do understand there was a split decision to Mitch Raposo. Everyone knows that if you watch that fight, you know that it was a clear 29-28 or 30-27 Andre Lima. It should have been easily, but the judges didn't know what they were fucking doing in that fight, and that was one of the worst judge fight night cards that we have ever seen. That was UFC 302 in New Jersey. So classic New Jersey stank. They didn't know what they were talking about. I just think Andre Lima is better here. I think his low kicks are really good, and I think Felipe Dos Santos is very, very kickable. It's not like he has this traditional boxing stance, but I don't know that he's too good at checking these low kicks, man. Victor Altamirano was kind of kicking them, and he was doing it from switch stances, and I like the ability for Andre Lima to switch stances, throw kicks down low, then throw a power kick to the body from those southpaw stance. Then using his hands, I think he can counter better. I just think he's more powerful. I think he's a better fighter overall, and I think he's going to be bigger than Felipe Dos Santos in there. Now, not to say that Felipe Dos Santos isn't great or isn't good. I'd like to see more from him. I'm not going to pick Felipe Dos Santos knowing how bad his last performance against Victor Altamirano was, and I get it. It was at altitude. But at the end of the day, you should be taking care of Victor Altamirano a lot easier than that, and he just looked reluctant to throw, whereas when Manel Kape was putting it on him, he felt like he had to get that fight back. I think Andre Lima has the ability to keep this fight slow, chew away at the legs, and really kind of snake charm Felipe Dos Santos into just letting this fight get away from him. I'm going Andre Lima to win a decision here. Isaac Dulgarian versus Brendan Marodi, the why the fuck is this happening of the week. Isaac Dulgarian's going to ragdoll him and TKO him. I'm going to go with submission in the first round. I think he just ragdolls, gets Brendan Marodi to the ground, and chokes him out. Isaac Dulgarian should be 7-0. He is a monster at featherweight right now. He got robbed by Christian Rodriguez. And if he was ragdolling Christian Rodriguez, he is going to ragdoll Marodi. Marodi just doesn't have the takedown defense. He got knocked out by Terrence McKinney, which is not a good look now. I get it. It's either kill or be killed when you're in a Terrence McKinney fight, but dude, I just don't think Marodi's built for it, man. I don't think he's built for the UFC. I don't know if he's built for combat. I know this sounds pretty fucking harsh, but I'm just trying to give you guys the pick as it is. I'm trying to shoot straight here, man. I'm not telling you I'm fucking built for combat, but just Marodi definitely isn't, man. I'm going with Isaac Dulgarian. I think he's just going to get out there, land a good 1-2 on Brendan Marodi, end up blasting, doubling, getting the takedown, transitioning to the back, and getting a rear naked choke within the first 3 minutes of the fight. So, Isaac Dulgarian, submission, round 1. OSP and... what the fuck? Alright, so there's no more OSP versus Ryan Spann. I was thinking about taking an underdog in OSP, I really was. So I'm not now. Because they're not on the fight card. This was supposed to have OSP and Ryan Spann on it. That sucks, man. Man, I was really looking forward to talking about that fight. All right, we'll go Rong Zhu versus Chris Padilla. Now, I know what I said about Yi Za. Or it's Zhu Rong, I guess it is. Because we got to flip those, I'm pretty sure. But ESPN doesn't care. They want to pretend that they're woke and they give a fuck about people of other, ethnicities and stuff. But they can't even get a fucking name right. So, fuck you, ESPN. But at the end of the day, and Disney, fake woke bitches. Chris Padilla got a really good win over James Lontop, and he was supposed to kind of be a layup for James Lontop, and then we found out, oh shit, Chris Padilla's kind of been in the fire before, and he's got good fight IQ. Rong Zhu he came into the UFC, and I think he went 1-2. Let's take a look at this record here. I think he went 1-2 to the UFC. He had 3 fights here. He lost on the Usman Masvidal 2 card, the first fight in front of a crowd, which was a sick fight. Actually, him and Kazula Vargas kind of had a war. So I think Vargas just brought the war out on him. And again, he was 21 years old at the time when this happened. So he loses a UD. Then he knocks Brandon Jenkins, a shit fighter. And then he gets subbed in round 3 by Ignacio Bahamondes. So I like his ability to go later into fights. I like his cardio. Now he gets cut here. And because he got subbed by Bahamondes, who's, again, a guy that's going to be in the top 25 of lightweight. He might be in the top 25 of lightweight right now. He looks good. He's getting better, too. But then he goes on a 4-fight win streak here. 2 knockouts, 1 in the first, 1 in the second. Goes to a decision. And then gets a submission in the road to UFC finals. Now, I know that the road to UFC is not the most top-tier talent, but these are sick fights. These are wars, and these guys are used to getting into wars. Now, I think Rong Zhu has gotten a lot better since being in the UFC, and I think that's going to help him a lot, where you have Chris Padilla, who has fought some very bad competition, but this guy will go out and he will get wins. He's fought some bad competition, but he gets his wins. Like he KO'd Justin James. He's well-rounded. He has submissions, KOs, can go to decision. And I think he's a very high IQ fighter. But if it goes to decision, I think he can get outplayed, and I think this fight will go to decision. I'm going to go with Rong Zhu to outstrike Chris Padilla, but I would not be surprised if Chris Padilla, whatever, I don't pretend to be woke. I would not be surprised if Chris Padilla whatever again, out IQs Rong Zhu, makes it a boring fight and lays on top of him for a long time. I wouldn't put that past him. I think that he has a good enough fight IQ to know if it's not working out on the feet, he's going to get it to the ground and try and win there. I think he's a very smart fighter, and I think I saw an interview of him saying, listen, man, I'm here to win the fight. I'm going to do it by the path of least resistance, which is, again, that just shows good fight IQ to me. Now, we'll see when it gets in the octagon, but if he showed it against James Lontop, who's a pretty good striker, he went to the ground, he got a submission, how can you go against him? Now, I know I'm saying that, and I am about to go against him and pick Rong Zhu here, but I am very weary. I hate this line, dude. This is a much closer fight. This, to me, is like a minus 125 Rong Zhu, plus 105 Chris Padilla. So, when it comes down to betting, there is money to be put on Chris Padilla, and I might put money on Chris Padilla here. But I'm going to pick Rong Zhu. The gun to my head pick is going to be Rong Zhu. He's younger. He's continuing to develop. And again, it's not like Chris Padilla is this old guy. He's 28, so he's continuing to improve. But I think Rong Zhu is just getting a lot more fights in, staying active, and he's getting more fight time, and I like that a lot more. So I'm going to go with Rong Zhu. I think he's getting better, and I think he's going to get this win by decision by just outstriking Chris Padilla. We're moving on, because if I keep looking at this, I'm going to go back to Chris Padilla, because plus 210 looks so damn good, brother. Plus 210 looks so good. I've been saying Chris Padilla leading up to this, and like yesterday I changed my mind. I'm going Rong Zhu. I'm going Rong Zhu. I'm done. I'm going Rong Zhu. Next up, Trevor Peek, Yanel Ashmouz. I love Trevor Peek, dude. He's just so fun. Every time he steps in that octagon, he is so much fun. And he's probably improving just by getting fight time. But he's still crazy. He's still super hittable. And Yanel Ashmouz is tough and powerful. I'm going to go with Yanel Ashmouz. And I think he cracks and takes the chin this fight of Trevor Peek. I think he's just going to land a big fucking overhand early in this fight when Trevor Peek is super hittable and they're going to war. Maybe in the second round, but I'm going to go in the first. I think Yanel Ashmouz is going to land a cracking right hand and knock Trevor Peek out. Yanel Ashmouz knocked out... It was Sam Patterson. So he knocked out Sam Patterson, who's a big light time. He's now at welterweight. So I get it. He's trained. But then he goes to war with Chris Duncan, and he broke his arm in the first round of that fight, and he stayed in there and went to decision and was still landing on Chris Duncan. I like to see that toughness against a guy like Trevor Peek that's going to march forward and put it on you the whole time. I think Yanel Ashmouz is just going to, as Trevor Peek's going in like crazy, counter, big overhand right, and knock down Trevor Peek and just land the ground and pound for the finish. I'm going Yanel Ashmouz by first round knockout here. I'm doing an underdog pick. Slight underdog, but I'm doing it. I'm about to go back on Chris Padilla, too. I'm about to go pick Chris Padilla, but I'm not going to do that. Cody Durden versus Matt Schnell. These odds aren't correct. This was originally Alessandro Costa versus Matt Schnell. Alessandro Costa was minus 340, plus Matt Schnell was plus 260, and I was going to say easy pick for Alessandro Costa here. Powerful striker. Matt Schnell has no chin. Sadly has no chin because I do like his technical boxing. I do like his jiu-jitsu game. But Cody Durden's a different fight here. A guy that doesn't crack as hard as Alessandro Costa. A guy that has good wrestling and decent striking and cardio, but is submittable, is hittable. And I think Matt Schnell's boxing's better than Cody Durden's. I'm going to pick Matt Schnell here, dude. I'm going to go with Matt Schnell to win this fight. I think this is an easier fight for him. I think that I can see him getting a guillotine on Cody Durden if he shoots a takedown. I think I can see him submitting him if they're just on the ground, grappling. And I can see Matt Schnell outboxing Cody Durden. I don't know if it's going to go to a finish, but I'm going to take Matt Schnell by a decision here. I think he's just going to outpoint Cody Durden. He's going to be better in the grappling exchanges, and I think he's going to be better boxing. I'm going to go with Matt Schnell to win this fight here, guys. That's the one that's going to be. It's going to be Matt Schnell beating Cody Durden. I can also see Cody Durden not being in the best of shape, given he's taking this fight on a couple days' notice. Now, we know he's always in the gym. I know he's always training. But we do see sometimes when these guys come in on short notice like this, they look a little flabbier. They're not in the best shape. I'm going to go with Matt Schnell to win this fight here over Cody Durden by decision. And I don't think it'll be an underdog pick. I think it's going to be a pick 'em. I think Matt Schnell could even be the slight favorite here. So I'm going to go with Matt Schnell. Steve Garcia versus Kyle Nelson. Steve Garcia, one of the most fun fighters in the UFC. Bat out of hell, coming off, I think, 4 straight knockout wins in the first or second round. I think there's one in the second. Okay, so yeah, knocked out Chase Hooper, who he knows a beast. He's a beast now. We love Chase Hooper. Shylin Nurmabeka. Knocked out Shylin Nurmabeka. That's, again, a guy that likes to grapple, so anyone that likes to mix it up. Steve Garcia can outpoint him and knock him out, outpower him. Sorry, just fucking running out of words. Melquiz Costa, however the fuck you pronounce it. Knocked him out in the second round. Sungwoo Choi knocked him out in the first round. But the thing with Steve Garcia is he is super, super hittable. Like, you can pepper this dude with punches. He's going to go in there and he's going to go to fucking war with you. But I think, and I've been saying this, I think his weakness is somebody that keeps it super technical, is patient, has decent head movement, can block punches, and then give power shots back. Land to the body, mix things up in the clinch, stall him out, drain out that power and energy. And I think Kyle Nelson's the guy to do it. Kyle Nelson's my pick. I think he's going to win this fight. And I think he's going to win it by decision here. I do. No, I don't. I think he's going to win it by knockout. I think he's going to win it by like a round 2 knockout. I think in the first round, Steve Garcia's coming like a bat out of hell, landing really good punches on Kyle Nelson, but you're seeing that Kyle Nelson is starting to be able to block him, starting to be able to move out of the way of him, starting to be able to mix things up. You know, Steve Garcia really blitzes in and Kyle Nelson goes immediately for the clinch, gets a trip takedown. Steve Garcia's trying to get out of there using a lot of energy, but Kyle Nelson's kind of holding him down. Eventually, Steve Garcia gets up, starts trying to land punches again. Kyle Nelson's seeing where the punches are coming from, so he's able to stay high guard and land a couple punches back of his own, and Kyle Nelson hits really fucking hard. He does, and his check hook's kind of nice. He's got a pretty nice check hook, not a counter hook. His check hook, that left hook is pretty nice, dude. And I think I can see Steve Garcia blitzing as a southpaw and Kyle Nelson being able to land a couple counter hooks on the way in that end up hurting Steve Garcia. And I think that's going to be the way he ends up finishing the fight in the second round. I think he's going to drain the gas tank of Steve Garcia and land a couple good shots in round 1. Maybe lose that. He will lose that first round. But Kyle Nelson in round 2, after losing round 1, will see Steve Garcia starting to get tired. He's going to continue to drain his gas tank with grappling and exchanges that Steve Garcia does not want to be in. And then eventually land a couple good body shots, land a good couple check hooks, and I think he's going to land a check hook while Steve Garcia is blitzing in. That's going to sit him down, and he's going to end up finishing the fight that way. So I'm going Kyle Nelson by a late round 2 knockout. Another underdog pick. Jessica Andrade versus Natalia Silva. Natalia Silva's the pick. She should be the pick for most people. She's younger. And I guess that doesn't matter as much as in women's MMA, as I said. But I think Jessica Andrade she's going through some stuff recently, you know, with her coach embezzling like $2 million. She's kind of in the middle of a lawsuit with that right now. She said she's going to focus on Natalia Silva, then go back to that, but that's still circling around in her mind. That's still something that is going on that'll distract her from the fight. And if you're not dialed in against Natalia Silva, you're not going to beat Natalia Silva. I think we got a future flyweight champion here in Natalia Silva. She can beat Jessica Andrade by using really good footwork. Like, she has great lateral footwork movement. And Jessica Andrade likes to blitz you with like crazy hooks. When you have someone like Mackenzie Dern, it works. Because Mackenzie Dern's pretty flat-footed and she wants to stand in those exchanges. But I think Natalia Silva's smart enough to know that, hey, she can tag her in the middle of that exchange and back up and use movement to get on the outside. She can use low kicks to bother Jessica Andrade. She can teep to the body. She has really good grappling as well. Now, I don't think grappling is going to be the way to get there. But I do think if they get into a little clinch exchange, like Natalia Silva's smart enough to throw that elbow off the break. I think she's an overall better fighter. I like her striking better. I like her footwork better. I like her head movement better. Maybe not her power, but I don't think power is going to be what she needs in this fight. I think Natalia Silva is going to win this fight by decision, but she may get a knockdown or two against Jessica Andrade while Jessica Andrade is blitzing in, and I think Jessica Andrade's head isn't fully in the game here. I'm going Natalia Silva to win this fight by decision. Give me Natalia Silva for the pick. Sean Brady, Gilbert Burns. First of all, this fight should be a pick'em. Should be. I mean, these guys are very equally skilled. What I'm paying attention to is here. It's the age. I can't keep denying that when I see that there's like a 66 or 68% rate or win rate for fighters of 6 years or 6 years younger than the other fighter. I don't know if I'm even speaking English in that right now, but like there's a stat that it's 66% of the time or 68% of the time, one of the two. The fighter that is 6 or more years younger wins the fight. Can't keep ignoring that because I like the other fighter more. I love Gilbert Burns. I like him more. I like his overhand right more. I like his pure power more than Sean Brady as well. But I think Sean Brady's been working on his boxing, been improving, and I think Sean Brady has really good grappling. Now, I understand that Gilbert Burns has tremendous grappling, and I think he's going to be able to thwart the grappling attempts of Sean Brady. He did it for Hamzat. Did it for Usman. Like, he makes these guys not want to go to the ground with him. But I think Sean Brady can string together good combinations. And I think Sean Brady was also tagging Bilal literally 2 years ago when we were like, Sean Brady, like, his striking doesn't look that good. You look back at that fight, it actually did look pretty good. He was landing good shots, landing good power. Bilal just has a fucking chin. Like, let's call a spade here. Bilal's got a fucking chin. He's a really good fighter. And he put crazy pressure on Sean Brady. And volume. Now, I think Gilbert Burns can put pressure on Sean Brady, but I don't think he's going to pepper him with volume like Bilal did. I think he's going to put pressure on feint, land overhand rights. Feint, jab, feint, overhand right, 1-2, hook. Like, I think he's going to mix up his strikes pretty well. He's going to land some good low kicks. But I do think that Gilbert Burns is not going to be able to put the volume out there that Bilal did. And I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. I love Gilbert Burns. He's one of my favorites again at welterweight. Like, dude, you can't not love the guy. Huge fan of the Show Me the Money podcast. I think that's great to show Gilbert Burns' personality. Now, we all know Gilbert Burns has like a top-tier, S-tier personality. Literally an S-tier personality in the UFC. And that might be a video idea. Tier list for personalities outside of the octagon. So, Gilbert Burns, spoiler, S-tier. But I like Sean Brady's pure boxing and how it's continuing to get better. Now, he was able to ragdoll Kelvin Gastelum. That's a hard thing to do. I don't think he ragdolls Gilbert Burns, but I think that threat's there, and it makes Gilbert think that every time he feints a shot, Gilbert's hands are going to come down. It's going to open up a right hand. I'm going to go with Sean Brady to win this fight by decision, but I am very, very weary of the fact that Gilbert Burns can crack. He can absolutely crack. He could land good low kicks that are really going to hurt Sean Brady. I can see Sean Brady standing in that boxing stance and Gilbert Burns beating up that leg. But I can see Sean Brady mixing it up enough where it thwarts forward attempts from Gilbert Burns. I swear, thwart is like my fucking word of the day right now. I'm going to go with Sean Brady to win this fight. I'm picking with my head instead of my heart. I will be cheering for Gilbert Burns the whole time. I will, and at plus 150. Betting Gilbert Burns to win a decision here. Not a bad bet. Not a bad bet at all. But I'm going to pick Sean Brady. I'm not betting on Sean Brady, but I'm going to pick Sean Brady for a pick here. Those are the picks. We'll go through the last of it. We'll go through them all again one time for everyone. So to go through it, it's Sean Brady, Natalia Silva, Kyle Nelson underdog, Matt Schnell, Yanel Ashmouz underdog, Rongju. Very weary about this one, but Rongju, Isaac Dolgarian, Andre Lima, Gabriel Santos, Vanessa Demopoulos, Andre Petrosky, Zigomatis Ramaska. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 underdogs. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. These are my picks. I am 232 and 123, so let's keep it rolling. Thanks again for watching.